We're exploring Metro Awakening to discover what it offers and whether it's worth stepping into this terrifying world. Let's dive in. In Metro Awakening, you step into a post-apocalyptic world, but not through the usual screen. In VR, you're actually placed inside that world, so everything feels a lot more intense and real. Just like in the other Metro games, the world here is gritty, bleak, and full of mutated creatures, hostile survivors, and strange mysteries to uncover. You play as a character searching for a missing person in the Metro tunnels. Along the way, you'll explore abandoned stations, come across strange creatures, and get pulled into a story that feels just as tense and creepy as the previous Metro games. The difference here? You're not just controlling a character, you're fully stepping into their shoes and experiencing everything firsthand. The first thing you'll experience in Metro Awakening is a tutorial, which is kind of like a training area that helps you learn the game's controls. In this VR setting, the tutorial takes place in white rooms with different weapons and items for you to try out. You'll get to handle pistols, rifles, and even a crossbow. But here's where it gets interesting. There's no laser pointer to help you aim like in some VR games. You'll be relying on the physical crosshairs of the weapon, meaning you have to aim like you would in real life. If you're new to VR shooting, it can take a little time to get used to, but it really adds to the challenge. In Metro Awakening, reloading your weapon is a full process. You have to manually grab and check your magazine, load it into the gun, and even pull back the slide to chamber a bullet. If you're using a crossbow, you'll physically tighten the string and load the bolt. It feels super realistic, and if you're a fan of realistic experiences, this adds a whole new layer of depth. After years of playing shooters with controllers or a keyboard, this way of playing can be both refreshing and challenging. What makes this game even more immersive are the small, detailed interactions. For example, early on in the game, you have to power up a generator by connecting wires and cranking a lever. It's not just a button press, you're actually moving your hands to make it work. You'll also climb ladders, turn on your helmet light by tapping your head, and even crouch by physically doing so in real life. If these actions seem like a lot, don't worry. There are ways to make it easier. The game offers settings for players who want to play while sitting, and you can replace certain actions, like crouching, with button presses. These accessibility options are a nice addition for players who want a more relaxed experience. But for those who want the full VR feel, doing these actions yourself makes the game feel that much more immersive. Metro Awakening really nails the feeling of being in a dark, scary place. If you don't have your flashlight on, you can barely see anything. It's a lot like the previous games in the series, but in VR, the darkness is even more intimidating. You have to rely on your flashlight to see around corners or down long tunnels, and every shadow could be hiding something dangerous. One unique feature is how you collect items. You don't just press a button, you reach out and grab items manually, putting them into your backpack by moving your hand over your shoulder. If you find a gun on the ground, you can either replace yours with it or remove its magazine to see if it has any extra bullets. These small details make it feel like you're actually surviving in this harsh world rather than just playing a game. The combat in Metro Awakening is intense and realistic. The first enemies you'll encounter are slow-moving mutated creatures, giving you some time to practice aiming and shooting. But don't get too comfortable. These creatures can jump at you unexpectedly, and even though they're not the toughest enemies, the VR setting makes every encounter feel scary and suspenseful. As you play, you'll come across more enemies and get the chance to use stealth. You can sneak up on creatures for silent takedowns or fight them head-on. Unlike traditional shooters, where you can easily reload or switch weapons, VR makes these actions a bit trickier. Each time you fight, it feels like a real survival struggle, where one missed shot could cost you. Resources are also limited, so you need to be smart about conserving ammo and supplies. For example, when your gas mask gets dirty or fogged up, you'll have to wipe it clean by physically moving your hand across it. And when you're in toxic areas, you'll need to change air filters to keep breathing. This constant management of resources keeps the tension high and adds to the game's survival aspect. In terms of visuals, Metro Awakening looks fantastic, especially on high-end VR systems. The Metro tunnels are dark, grimy, and filled with small details that bring the world to life. On some VR headsets, the graphics may be slightly dialed down, but overall, the game does a great job capturing the bleak, abandoned feel of the Metro series. The sound design also plays a big role in making the experience immersive. The creepy noises you hear in the dark, the echo of your own footsteps, and the growls of distant creatures all add to the tension. It's one thing to play a horror game on a screen, but in VR, every sound feels like it's right next to you, which can make you feel genuinely scared. The story in Metro Awakening is engaging. Even in the demo, you're on a mission to find a missing person in the tunnels, uncovering more about what happened in this world and facing dangers along the way. It's a bit like the other Metro games, where the focus is on survival and exploration in a harsh environment. Even if you're new to the Metro series, this story is easy to get into and adds a strong narrative element to the gameplay. So, is Metro Awakening worth playing? Metro Awakening isn't for everyone. If you're not used to VR or prefer simpler games, this might be a bit overwhelming, but for anyone up for a dark, immersive adventure, it's one of the best VR games out there right now. Whether you're a Metro fan or just looking for something new in VR, Metro Awakening offers a terrifying, memorable journey through the Metro tunnels. If you're excited about stepping into the world of Gotham City like never before, then Batman Arkham Shadow VR might just be the game for you. Check out analysis. Dive into the gameplay, the thrills, and everything that makes Batman Arkham Shadow VR an experience you don't want to miss. Click the link and join us in Gotham.